The anti-aging supplement that I took is called NMN. This is the packet right here. So the one that I got is from Afiga. Now, there's actually only a few places where you can get NMN that's actually a really good quality version of it. So with the Afiga brand, it's actually a really high quality and actually third-party tested. So that's the one that I bought. So why this supplement is meant to be effective is it's meant to boost your NAD levels in your body. And by boosting your NAD levels in your body, it's meant to give you more physical energy, and it's also meant to help your DNA be able to repair itself more effectively. Now, in terms of the research, they've only really tested this on mice so far. So with the test on mice, they've proven that it does actually increase health span and lifespan for the mice who have been supplementing with NMN. Now, with humans, they haven't done the same studies yet because, of course, humans live a lot longer, so it takes a lot longer to actually test these things on humans. But they have shown so far that it's safe for humans to consume this, but they haven't yet been able to prove whether humans can get the same benefits as mice can by taking NMN. So the main researcher behind this is Dr. David Sinclair. You might have seen videos about him on YouTube. He's kind of all over YouTube at the moment, and he's the main researcher behind this, and he actually takes 1 gram per day of NMN, and there's a lot of other scientists, a lot of other people who have been following his research who also take 1 gram per day of NMN in basically just the hope that it will do the same thing to humans as it does to mice, and it will boost our health span and our lifespan. So that's the main reason why I bought NMN, and that's the main reason why I want to test it out, is I just want to see what it does for me. Now, of course, I'm fairly young still, so the benefits might be fairly limited for me because I wouldn't have accumulated as much DNA damage as someone who is much older, but I'd still want to test it out. I want to see if I got any benefits from it and if I noticed anything from it. And the other main reason why I want to test it out is because I want to see whether it could possibly increase my intelligence. If you've watched any of my videos before on this channel, you'll know that I'm obsessed about increasing my intelligence to the maximum human limit. I've already gained 13 IQ points and I'm going to gain a lot more. So that was one of my motivations for choosing to supplement with NMN, was to see whether it could possibly boost my intelligence. So I took this supplement for 60 days in a row. I started off with 0.5 gram per day. So most of the main researchers behind this, they actually take 1 gram per day, but they're also a fair bit older. They're in maybe their 50s, whereas I'm still in my 30s. So I want to start with a lower dose because I thought probably I only needed a lower dose, being younger and having less DNA damage, but also because I want to be more conservative, just in case it had some negative side effects. So I started with 0.5 gram per day. Now, the first thing that I noticed was actually within just a day or two, I noticed a significant boost to my energy levels. So basically, I felt more energy and more motivated towards doing work and going to the gym and just physically working out my body. Now, of course, this could have been a placebo effect because I knew I was taking this supplement. I knew that one of the possible benefits was an increase in my energy levels. So it's quite possible that the boost in energy levels that I did experience was just a placebo effect, but even if it was, I'm fine with that. I'm fine if something is a placebo effect and still a very worthwhile benefit. So that's something that I did notice. It was a significant boost to my energy levels. I just found myself wanting to go to the gym more often. I found myself wanting to work out, and even in terms of business, I found myself wanting to do more work towards my businesses, to grow my businesses more and just to put in more time into growing my businesses. So I found that quite beneficial, and that was with taking 0.5 gram per day. So I think I started with 0.5 gram per day for the first couple of weeks, and then after that I decided to increase to the full 1 gram per day, which is what the main scientists are taking. The main scientists who have researched this, they're taking 1 gram per day. So after a couple of weeks I moved to 1 gram per day as well. And after a couple of weeks of doing 1 gram per day, I didn't really notice any additional benefits. I didn't really notice any additional increase in my energy levels, and I didn't really notice any increase in my intelligence either. And actually after a few weeks of taking 1 gram per day, I actually started to notice a slight decrease in my intelligence. So I actually track my intelligence level on a daily basis by doing forms of brain training that actually track my performance on a regular basis. So I can know when my intelligence, when my mental performance is lower, and I can know when I'm at my absolute peak. And I use this to test different supplements and different lifestyle changes to determine what really helps you increase your intelligence and what can drag your intelligence down. So after a couple of weeks of taking 1 gram per day, I noticed that my intelligence actually started to drop slightly. But I kept taking the 1 gram per day, thinking that there could have been something else affecting my intelligence during that week or so, because there's always a multitude of factors that are influencing your intelligence on a day-to-day basis. So many different things can increase your intelligence or decrease your intelligence on a day-to-day basis, and it's actually hard to keep track of everything that is actually impacting you. So I kind of just brushed it off for the first week or two, and then I just kept taking the 1 gram per day, and I ended up taking it for around about 2 months in total. And what I actually found was my mental performance just kept on deteriorating. It kept slowly decreasing, until a point where it actually just crashed. So I was actually possibly 10 to 20 IQ points put down at that point. And I can only put it down to taking the NMN, because I've tried so many other different things to increase my intelligence, and I know what works and I know what doesn't work. And I know that there's nothing else in that couple of week period that could have possibly crashed my intelligence this hard. So I put it down to taking this NMN. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that NMN is banned, because of course when I did start taking it, I did get a boost to my energy levels, which was quite beneficial. But perhaps it simply is that taking too much of it and taking it for too long has a negative effect. But that might only be the case for me, because one thing I was thinking is perhaps NMN does actually do exactly what they say it does. Perhaps it does actually boost your NAD levels and then help your body repair DNA damage and make your DNA younger and back to the default DNA settings that it was before. That's good. That would, in theory, make your body younger and healthier. But for me, because I put so much time and effort into training my brain, into forcing my neurons to adapt and to grow and to become more efficient and to become more intelligent, because I put years and years into that, and I forced my brain to adapt. I forced my brain to grow and become stronger and to become more intelligent. Because I did that, perhaps when I take the NMN, perhaps it does repair DNA damage. Perhaps it repairs DNA damage that I actually want to be there. Perhaps the only reason why I've been able to increase my intelligence is because I've been able to damage my DNA and force it to adapt, force it to evolve, and to unlock higher levels of intelligence. And by doing so, that actually is technically DNA damage, because my default DNA, my default me, is a lower intelligence. I was born with an IQ of 136. That is my default. So if by taking the NMN, it resets my DNA back to the default, perhaps it would be resetting me back to 136 IQ instead of the 149 plus that I've achieved so far. That's kind of my theory about the NMN at the moment. So I actually think that yes, it is quite effective. Perhaps it does actually help your body repair DNA damage. But for people like me who are actively trying to evolve my DNA, for me, I think it's perhaps not effective and actually has negative effects. Because for me, it might be resetting me back to my default DNA level, which is a lower level of intelligence. So once I stopped taking the NMN, I was actually able to rebuild my intelligence level back up to the peak level where it was before I was taking the NMN. But it did actually take a long time. It took multiple weeks, even maybe a month or two, to rebuild myself back up to the peak level of intelligence that I was before. So for me personally, I don't think it's worthwhile to keep taking NMN, and I'm actually not going to take it again. The boost to energy levels was quite good and quite enjoyable, but the crash in my intelligence level was not at all worthwhile. So for me personally, my strategy with NMN, I probably will start taking it again, but when I'm much older. So perhaps when I'm 60 or 70 years old and I'm completely retired and I'm not trying to compete anymore, when I'm just retired and relaxing, then I'll start taking NMN, because then my body will need it more, and then also any reduction in intelligence back to my default level of intelligence won't actually be as meaningful, because the benefits to my overall health, to my overall body's health and lifespan will actually be far more important than intelligence at that point, perhaps when I'm 60 or 70 years old. But for now, right now, my number one priority is increasing my intelligence to the maximum human limit, and now I'm going to use that to make as much money as I possibly can. That is my strategy, because my number one goal really is to make as much money as I possibly can. That is what I'm interested in, and I'm increasing my intelligence only as a means to achieve that goal. So if NMN holds me back in increasing my intelligence, then I can't use it at the moment. But of course, if you're watching this and you're a bit older and you're not doing any form of brain training, you're not trying to evolve your DNA in any certain way, then of course NMN might be beneficial to you. And even if you're younger and you might want the boost to your energy levels and you're not doing any active form of brain training, you're not trying to increase your intelligence, then it might be beneficial to you as well. And then you won't actually see any negative side effects if you're not doing brain training. If you haven't increased your intelligence, it won't reset you back to your previous level of intelligence if you haven't already increased your intelligence. So if that's you, then yes, you might receive benefits from NMN. You might enjoy the boost to your physical energy levels, and you might not see any negative side effects like what I saw. But for me personally, I can't take NMN again. It's not worth the risk. If you like this content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you guys updated with anything else I'm working on and other things I'm doing to increase my intelligence and to make as much money as I possibly can. Cheers, guys.